Hello, hi, welcome to the weekend reading vlog, the last one of the year. There was supposed to be another one the week before. I totally did not drop this and got this like this. But yeah, no. I read like 14 pages in 2 days. I'm kind of in a reading slump. We're not talking about it. Hopefully by this coming weekend in like 4 days, I should be over it. This is a vlog series in which I pick a book from my TBR drawer and I read it in 2 days over the weekend. Yellow are left over from last year, either my 23 and 2023, or just random ones I threw in / ones friends put in. Pinks are only 24 and 2024, which is this whiteboard. One of the other vlogs I am recording right now is one where I read books just from this list. That being said, some of the pinks may have to go out in the trash. I have not cleaned this out. I do it like every year. Near the end of the year, it's getting to that point, right? And I have not done it yet. So, whoops. Maybe one that I've already read, or another option. It's not one I've already read, and that's completely fine. I'm trying to get through that list. The two main things I'm working on is finishing series and getting through things on my 24 and 2024. That is it. So, like, if I happen to pick a 24 one, all the merrier for me. So I'm going to try for pink. Technically, they are skinnier than the rest, so I can, like, feel them out. I think, like, 2/3 of what's on this actual whiteboard is in here, because some of them got replaced with different books because SMP and whatnot. And I didn't know when the boycott was going to end, and I would have preferred to be able to read the books. That being said, things like Karenina is in here, so, you know, fun times. I'm trying to feel out a skinny one. Oh, I got one. I got a pink. I think, you know, I did see an S, and I think that may be Starry Eyes. I can see it from here because it's on my unhaul pile. I wrote it so tiny, and I love that for me. Can we focus on this? I read this Saturday. Actually, hilariously, this past Saturday when I was supposed to be reading the book for the weekend reading vlog, that I didn't do, I hilariously finished that book. This is what I mean when I say I need to clean it out. Yeah, this is the first one. No, the second one I read, actually, for the 24 vlog. It is sitting in my unhaul pile because it was a 3-star. Yeah. I mean, most YA contemporaries, especially of this magnitude, are for me. Especially with a lot of homophobia and infidelity that is in the book. That being said, I do think it's a fish book. I think they would like it. I am getting them to read it so that if they like it, I will send it to them for the holidays. Round 2. I'm trying for a pink again. Let's go. We can do this. We'll clean it out this way. Oh, I got one. What are the chances? I'm gay, so I'm not going to do the math, but what are the chances that the other pink one I pick out is the first one I read for that vlog? Crying in H Mart, which is hilariously one I've picked out before for this. Here, maybe this will help. But I wasn't able to get my hands on it. I finally got my hands on it. I read it, and that was the first one for that vlog. That is so funny. I rated that one 4 stars. Spoiler for that vlog. Yeah, it was a difficult memoir for me. Moving on. Round to round 3. Have we had to do 3 rounds before? Possibly, because I think with the SMP stuff, we've had to do it. I think there was one time where I picked out a book that I decided to just straight remove from my TBR, and then I picked one that was SMP, and then I picked, I think it was Ruby Red. No! No, where the... Excuse me. So I don't remember how long the audiobook is. I remember when reading another book by this author, the audiobook was over 24 hours. This is kind of giving away what I'm talking about. So, you know, I'm expecting around that length. I do have it already from Libby. But, yeah, I'm just gonna show it to you. Yeah, it happened. We got Anna Karenina. We got her. Nah, how could this happen to me? This is how big she is. This is how big she is. This is, do we see her? I got her for like 5 cents. Bestie, her hometown, the library had a library sale in the basement. There's like a whole entire hall where I literally dragged this across the street. Right. And it was like one of those things where I think it was like $3 or $1.50. Right. If you can carry all your books out with you, it's $1.50. This is one of the ones. She got an atlas and that is it. I got like 20 books and this is one of them. To give you an idea of the text size, I gotta see how many pages this bad boy is. Oh my god. I don't even know that number in Roman numerals. I think it's 29, 19? 736 pages for the Barnes & Noble edition that I have. 729 pages in 2 days. I may take an extra day. This may be, the old versions included Mondays, because I would record them on weekends when my mom did work, and that would include Mondays. So this one may include Monday. I will try to do it too, but it may include Monday. I can't believe this actually happened. I joke about it all the time. What is this about? This is about Anna, who is a woman in society who ends up cheating on her husband, and society's views about that whole ordeal. That is basically what it's about. I am freaking out low-key, but I would like to remind everyone that I did give War and Peace 4.5 stars, and I contemplated giving it 5, and I had a lovely time. So I'm just gonna throw that over there. I can't believe it's actually happening. You know, maybe I'll finally actually move on to my shelves after this, because there's like a very nice spot on my shelves that I know exactly where I put it, because it's next to all my other classics. I just haven't had time. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Well, progress? Not really. I have read 70 pages. I've read about 10%. And it's a quarter before 8 p.m. On Sunday. I am taking Monday to read this. I did read 32 pages, I think, yesterday, just with my eyeballs. I really wish, if I wasn't doing it for this vlog, I probably would have waited to read this until December when I have more mood reading time and could just sit with this and read it with my eyeballs, but I'm doing it for this vlog. So I did pull up the audiobook. The audiobook edition is slightly different translation than this edition, which makes following along like a little difficult. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm only at 3 times speed. If I was at 4 times speed, that'd be more difficult, but more of an issue, but I'm only at 3 times speed. Yeah, I was gonna update you at every part. I am 35 pages away from part 1, end of part 1. And I have to take a break because at 8 o'clock I'm watching a movie with friends. Yeah, I barely read any yesterday because I was doing other things. And then today, I have not felt the best, and that's my excuse for today. So I'm gonna try to get to 25%. How much is 25%? If 350 is half, it's about 100, about just under 200 pages, because it's 750-ish pages. So I say about another solid 100. If I'm at 70, a solid 100 more will get me there. Oh my god. Like around here. This is how much. It should go much faster with the audiobook though. So there's that. One thing I will give this, which is a Leo Tolstoy classics thing. It's easy to read despite the fact that it's thickums. And whatnot. And it's a classic. And it's translated. It's easy to read, and I know that's like a Tolstoy thing. Because he wanted his books to be readable by the masses, not just people of higher class with like higher education and whatnot. That was like his whole thing. I had to do a project on him in like 9th grade. Look at me now. Anyways, yeah. So because of that, it's like easy to read his books. I mean, that's how I managed to read about 1/3 of War and Peace in one sitting. Like, right? Yeah. Also, I think maybe doing this with audiobooks is a good idea because infidelity is a main plot point. And if we know anything about me, infidelity is one of my least favorite things. I mean, so far what has happened is we've met Anna's whole entire family. She just showed up like 3 chapters ago. Showed up in town because her brother cheated on his wife with the governess, and the wife found out. And it's just a lot of him being like, oh, I hate my wife. She's like so ugly because she gave away her whole entire life to give me my children. And so she's so ugly now and I can't love her. So I obviously had to bang the governess. It's not my fault, but it is totally my fault. Meanwhile, his wife's like, what the fuck do I do? And Vronsky, is that how you pronounce it? Benefit of audiobooks, I get to hear how the names are pronounced. One of them is just no vowels in the first half. And it's like 20 letters long. And I'm just like, what? But Vronsky, who I know is the one that Anna has an affair with, he is there and he's like flirting with Kitty, who is Anna's brother's wife's youngest sister, who also kind of has a thing with Anna's brother's best friend. But he proposed to Kitty, and who is the younger sister of Dolly, who is Stepan, Anna's brother's wife, right? Levin, who is the best friend, did propose to Kitty, and like she apparently had a thing for him previously, but the mother was like, no, he's not good enough for you. And so like, you should marry this prince, Vronsky. And so, and we learn, both the fathers like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? And both from Vronsky, a little bit about Vronsky, that he's just flirting with her to flirt with her for fun. He doesn't know that, hey, you're basically setting up to marry her, and by not marrying her, it's very bad. So that's fun. Meanwhile, Levin's heartbroken. Levin, best character so far. My favorite is when Stepan and him were at dinner together, and he was all like, hypothetically, could like you imagine like you love your wife, but then you don't love her anymore, and you see another woman, and you just, the passion hits you, and you have to have that affair, and Levin's just like, no. It's like, what do you do if that happens to you, hypothetically? And Levin's like, you don't cheat? The end. I love him. He's the one from the country, and the one other thing I know about this, the Anna and Vronsky affair, and the fact that there's farming a lot in this are the 2 things I know about this book. And he is the guy from the country who really likes farming. So I think he's the one who's going to be giving me farming info. That being said, I love him. I will be not taking any questions about that. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go because this movie starts in like 5 minutes and I have to do a bunch of stuff before that. So, that's the update. I probably won't update you again tonight. I'll update you, when does part 2 start? Or not part 2, part 3. I just passed it. Part 3 is 2:15. Maybe I could get there tonight. Do we think I can get there tonight? If I get to 2:15 tonight, and then I can update you first thing in the morning. Rest of part 1 and all part 2, and then tomorrow I'll update you at the end of every part. That's gonna be the attempt, okay? Oh, hi. How much did I get last night? I got to where I planned at like 1 a.m. I got about a quarter of the way through before midnight, and then I continued to read until 1 to finish part 2. So I'm on part 3. Okay, so I read until here, and this is all of part 3. What has happened? Stuff. Officially, the cheating between Anna and Vronsky has happened. Kitty is dealing with the guilt she feels with turning down Levin, despite her being in love with him, because her mother was like, he's not good enough for you. You should just marry Vronsky. And then Vronsky just leaving her behind and making her look really bad, and a bunch of other stuff. The marriage between Anna's brother and Dolly is basically falling apart. There was a lot about farming and horse racing. I was like, God damn, it's 1 a.m. Let me sleep. You know, the Levin and Kitty stuff reminds me a little bit. I don't remember exactly what part of War and Peace, but like there was that aspect in War and Peace too. Somewhere where a guy proposed, and she was gonna say yes, but she says no because she's in love with somebody else, and then that person ends up not being who she expected, and then time passes and he's dying. And on his deathbed, and she sees him, and she's like, I should have chosen you. So it's giving me that, which is lovely. I am gonna read part 3, and then take a break. I don't know, I have like 8 hours, to read left. So, I really do want to finish this today. Like, I really want to. I don't want to have to make this 4 days. So let's hope I can do it. Anyways, also my arm is starting to hurt / wrist on this hand from holding it like this. So that was just a fun fact. But yeah, that's the update. I've got a lot to read. It's actually this side. I got to part 4. Somehow, some way, I did it. We're honestly all surprised. What happened? Did I mention Anna's pregnant? That was like a thing, I think, in the last part where she's pregnant. She tells Vronsky and not her husband, so I assume it's Vronsky's. There's this whole thing where Vronsky is racing and he almost dies. He gets thrown off the horse, blah, blah, blah. And mixed with the hormones, because pregnancy, I assume, but also, seeing her lover, almost die, she gets super emotional, and her husband's all like, what are you doing? Stop being emotional in public, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, if you don't know already, like, you should know. I'm totally sleeping with this man. And her husband's like, okay. She assumes that he is either going to try to, duel Vronsky, or take her son away, so she plans to run away with her son. And then he informs her, no, actually, partially for honor is why what he says why is because of honor, but, in public opinion, but also partially because he, feels like if he does go with separation or divorce, then she can be happily ever after with, her lover and be rewarded for cheating on him and doing this to him. And while he isn't particularly upset about the whole actual act of her cheating, because there's no love lost there, whatnot, he does not feel she deserves to be rewarded for how she has treated him. And so he's like, nah, I'm not divorcing or separating you. In fact, I will make sure you stay with me and you cannot see your lover anymore. And hints that if she doesn't, he will take the set away. So that's fun. Other things. Farming. Levin, can you please stop? Levin, I love you, but I'm tired. This is how much I have to read for the next part. For part 4. It's not that long, honestly. It's gonna take me less than an hour. Yeah, no, Levin's been doing a lot of farming. He is out with the common people, actually working on his farm, right? And there's like this whole thing where he has a half-brother who has some place in society who, berates him for not working in the government, blah, 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 because he does not view a purpose in that, right? And he has a full brother, I think, who is an alcoholic, and all this stuff, who is usually, like, known as the lesser brother, the black sheep, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of close with both of them. He's much closer emotionally with the full brother. The half brother, he talks to more, but he realizes when that brother is visiting him and he's working out in the fields himself, with his workers, he's all like, my brother thinks he's so smart, but what is basically a simpleton peasant has been a much better person to me than my own brother, like, and so he starts really being intrigued by this way of life, and whatnot, and then, yeah, and then he's all like, woo, I'm gonna, like, become one of them, maybe I'll even marry a peasant woman, all this stuff, and then Kitty comes to town. Dolly has moved to the old family home from her side of the family with her kids, because, surprise, surprise, Stefan's still cheating, and the house is basically run down, nothing's right with it, and Levin is the one taking care of her a little bit more. Like, he's all like, hey, I can get you cows. Like, I have cows. You can have my cows. Like, if you really want to pay me for the cows, I'll make sure you give me the minimum price. Like, all this stuff. Meanwhile, like, there's not even, like, a proper bathhouse. Like, the only reason they're surviving is because her maid, who's been with her since she was a child, is doing manual labor, right? Like, that's the whole reason surviving. And I'm just saying, I kind of low-key ship it. But she's there with the kids and she kind of needs help. So Kitty is on her way to help out with the kids, but also wants to be in the country because she doesn't like city life anymore, ever since going to the baths and whatnot. And so they are in the same area again. He sees Kitty and he goes, never mind, I can't live this simple life. The end of this part is his alcoholic brother comes for a visit, and it's very clear that his brother not only is worse for wear, who Kitty did briefly meet in the baths, by the way, but also, like, clearly gonna die soon. Like, it's really bad. And so now Levin's dealing with his own mortality and how, like, all he has to show for his work or for his life is all this work on the farm that he does and how much he cares for it. But, like, will anybody really remember it? And who would it go to, because he doesn't have any children? He is trying to write a book about it. There's a neighbor who likes to talk philosophy and farming, which is very similar to what the half-brother tries to do with him, but the half-brother doesn't listen to him. This guy does listen. And they, like, have full-on conversations and debates and read books about it and all this stuff. So now he wants to write his own book about it, and he's dealing with his mortality. Kitty's in the same area. Anna may be leaving her husband. She realizes that Vronsky isn't who she thought he was, and also not the type of guy you leave your husband for, because there's basically no security there. So that's fun. Like, the passion is there, but, like, otherwise, what the fuck? Like, he's all like, so what if he takes your son? And she's like, wait, what? So that's fun. I think that's it for this part. I don't know, there's a lot of farming. Like, my eyes started closing from all the farming. So I'm gonna go play video games for like 2 hours and then get back to it. I think I have like 5 hours left. I upped the speed. I'm ready to long, that's fine. So I think with upping the speed, I have about 5 hours, 4.5, something like that. But yeah, I'm also just short of halfway. I love that for me. Guys, I'm gonna go. For the second shortest part, a lot of shit happened. The shortest part, at least chapter wise, is the last one by like 2 chapters. So that's fun to know. I am over halfway done now. I did play video games for 3 hours. We're not talking about it. I have to read 100 pages next time. A little over 100. This is fine. This is fine. Alright, what happened in part 4? So, the main thing is a dinner party. Stepin, Stevie, however you want to call him, whichever his names, invites a bunch of friends and family to a dinner party. Since his wife is gonna be there, they're kind of made up. He invites her sister, who's been helping her take care of the kids, Kitty. And since it's also in the area of his best friend, he also invites Levin. Also not Anna, but Alexei, her husband, is there. So that's a thing. The main thing that happens there is that Levin and Kitty talk for the first time since he proposed, and she turned him down, and she was like, yeah, I had no other choice at the time. Please forgive me. I love you. And I think he admitted, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think he admitted that he had something to do with her oldest brother's death. Right? I think he drowned. Maybe that was the only brother. I think that was the only brother, and he drowned, and that's how Levin knows the family, because he was friends with him, right? So that happened. He officially proposed again, and they're engaged, and I was very happy. Okay, that's the only part I cared about. Another thing, so at one point, Anna invites Vronsky over because she's got to talk about how she preggy, and so it's gonna be noticeable. Right, and they gotta figure out what to do. And mainly one of the main rules Alexei had about them staying together and him not taking her child away from her is she can't invite Vronsky to the house. Like, you can't do it underneath his nose. You gotta be more secretive, and you can't do it right underneath my nose, like, for the love of God. So he immediately learns that she invited Vronsky over and is like, no, we're getting a divorce. Goes, looks into, like, talks to lawyers, does a bunch of stuff, tells Stepin about it, because Stepin starts questioning, and then, his wife Dolly's all like, no, you shouldn't do that, like, literally, how sure are you that she actually did it? And also, like, I forgave my husband, and he's all like, yeah, I'm so sure that she straight up told me that she never loved me and all this stuff. And so he's all like, yeah, I'm getting a divorce. He's living off on his own, letting her live her life, and plans to take the child away and all this stuff when she gives birth to a girl, and she gets ill afterwards, and it is like a 90% chance she's gonna die. Like, it's pretty bad, right? So he rushes home. Vronsky's there. She on her deathbed is all like, you two have to make up and at least like know that I loved you both and you both loved me. Blah blah blah. And Alexei respects the fact that when he heard that she was ill, wished her to die, and how that's crappy, and how she has come to see the full guilt and everything she's done on her deathbed, and how when she ends up surviving, he's willing to like make it work, right? He's willing to do it for her, and all this stuff, and he's like, you can even have the kid. Like, I don't. everything, and she's all like, no, 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 you're gonna, like, he's taking care of the baby when she's in the sick bed. Like, the daughter that is not his is her lover's. He is taken care of. There's a thing where Vronsky assumes that Anna died, and then, Alexei says, never come back, and so Vronsky shoots himself. He does survive, and he makes sure people know that it was totally by accident. Wild. When I tell you this part, I had so much going on. No farming. If there was farming, it was like a paragraph or two. So that's fine. Right? And so, she eventually is a little bit better, taking care of the baby, and whatnot, and she assumes that he hates her, and hates this baby, and is gonna take everything away from her, and he's like, no, 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 I'm willing to work it out, and, like, these are your children, like, you can do what you want. It's up to you at this point. And he, like, freaks her out, and so he's all like, okay, I'm gonna write her a letter. If she wants a divorce, we can have a divorce. It's up to her at this point. She talks to her brother, Stepan, who talks him into giving her a divorce, and they're setting up all that stuff. Vronsky, when he gets better, goes to visit her after getting shot in the chest. It point blank with a revolver like this. How he survived in the 1870s. Anyways, Vronsky shows up, and, she's all like, listen, he was willing to divorce me, and he says that I can have the son too, but what will we do? And also I'm ill, and all this stuff. And Vronsky in his head is like, oh, let's not worry about that. But in his head, he's like, oh, God, we both miraculously survived, and all you want to talk about is the fact that you're getting divorced with your husband, and what to do with your child. So annoying. Anyways, yeah, no, Alexei is, like, 100% willing to just do whatever she wants, because he was, like, even hating his own son, because of the things that she had done to him, and all this stuff. And so, like, he's made peace with his life. He's all down to just, like, co-parenting or whatever, and divorce, and all this fun stuff. But instead of divorcing, Anna and Vronsky just run away together, leaving behind the son. I don't know if they took the daughter with them, but definitely leaving behind the son. And it's just like, girl, I have so many red flags coming from Vronsky. So many constantly. And, you know, that's my thoughts opinion on Vronsky. I don't like him. Currently favorite characters. I wasn't the biggest fan of Alexei, because, like, I get your wife cheated on you, but, like, wishing your wife was dead, it's a little bit much. Like, I'll give him this. He's like, I wish they were dead, but I won't do it myself, despite the fact that I have every legal right to, and all this stuff. But, like, he hates his child because of the effect she has, and all this stuff. But now, it's like he's come to this, he's looked death in the face, and he's like, I gotta change my ways. And he did. And I like him now. I still love Levin and Kitty's romance. The best part of this book. Thank you very much. I love how I give 0 cares about the character that this book is named after. But yeah, that's it. That's the update. I'm gonna go eat dinner, and then read 100 pages to read the next part, and then again to read the next part, and then like the 80 pages to read the last part. Yay! Oh, hi. I call this look, I washed my face and I put on my pajama shirt because that romper was uncomfortable. So, you know, you get one of my 6 billion what? Baby Yoda pajama sets that my mom got me over the years. I finished part 5. This is about how much I have to read next time. It's about the same, which is about half of what I've left. I'm on the last third. Like, I'm on the last stretch. Can we believe it? I love how the shortest section was the most eventful, because nothing really happened. Anna and Vronsky did take their daughter with them. What has happened? So, let's get the most important part out of the way. Levin and Kitty get married. And I love that for them. There was like his brother, the one who's alcoholic and was dying, is bedridden die level now. And so he's all like, I gotta go and like take care of him, because technically his ex-lover, because they weren't married, was the one taking care of him, and he should have family there. And he's like, take me with you. He's like, you don't need to see this. And he's like, yeah, but I'm your wife. So he inevitably agrees. His brother, is it Nikolai? Something like that. Did remember her from the baths. One thing that I didn't bring up during her baths adventure, I say baths, it's like baths but for Russia. Same thing, right? Bath adventures there, she spent a lot of time thinking to be a better person. She had to help people, right? It was like one of those debates of like, through the lens of her character, by being selfless, you're a better person, right? But if you're purposely being selfless so that you're a better, like, so you look better and you're more righteous, is it actually selfless type thing? And so she was helping a lot of sick people there, and she saw his mother there. Part of that is that she became really good at taking care of sick people, and so when Levin doesn't know what to do, she is doing a lot of the work to take care of his brother, as he's dying, like moving, like flipping him over so he doesn't get bed sores. So that's great. Basically it's Levin realizing that while he's all gung-ho about farming and whatnot, like, he married a woman who's not only beautiful, but like is a good caregiver, like has a good heart and all this, which it's said by others that he is a weird man who doesn't have a heart and has no emotion and blah blah blah, which if you're in his mind whenever he sees Kitty, like, you would not think that. Other things, Vronsky and Anna have been traveling around. His mother specifically, his mother too, but his mother specifically really does not like that he's having an affair with a married woman. So doesn't like Anna and makes it known to her. Alexei does not know how to run his own home. Like, his wife's been doing it for like the past 15 years or whatever, right? And so he reconnects with, I think they were like almost an item, like they almost got married, a countess who he almost married. I think they kind of have a flirtation going on. I don't know about that. I kind of ship it. But I also kind of ship him and Dolly. Like, hear me out. They're both people who have been cheated on and know that pain. And when he was like, yeah, I'm gonna divorce her, she did this, like, she was consoling him about that. And it was very sweet, and like, I kind of ship it. I'm sorry. But that's like his brother-in-law's wife. That's weird. That's a little weird. But also it's the 1870s Russia. Right? So yeah, they reconnect. She's a countess, I think a widow, as herself. And so they reconnect, and they're not doing the deed, but basically on top of trying to take care of like all his normal business stuff and being, I think he's a prince, like, he also is trying to run his house and he doesn't know how, and also raise his son. And so she takes over the running of the house aspect, becomes like a surrogate mother to the son. They do tell the son that Anna died, and he doesn't believe it, but like, they tell him all the time that she's dead. And so when she shows up in town, again for the first time since, and it happens to be his birthday, she sneaks into the house and climbs to bed with him, and he's all like, oh my god, Mom, I knew you weren't dead. So that's a thing. And yeah, also there's trouble in paradise between Vronsky and Anna, because like he's not very supportive. Hear me out. All the red flags. One, he doesn't understand why she wants to see her son. Right. Two, every time she gets emotional because she has literally given up her son to be with him, and he's given up nothing. Right? Like, so when his mother's being like really mean to her and a bunch of other stuff's happening and all this stuff, and she's like, I just want to be able to live my life, and you, like, he views her as hysterical and crazy and doesn't think she's beautiful anymore whenever she's like this, because she's just so emotional as she's dealing with the fact that, one, she's getting older, which means her looks are leaving her. That's like a big thing with Dolly too, which means like maybe he'll leave her because like they're not married, so he could leave her at any point and leave her with nothing and but a baby to take care of, right? So she's dealing with that, the fact that she doesn't have her son, and she doesn't have security anymore, and coming to terms with like all that stuff she gave up. Also, like, I don't remember what his income is, but I remember it being brought up that it was like much lower than it should have been, and he was in extreme debt because of it. So yeah, and they're traveling, so you know, that's just a thing that's also happening. Apparently he's supposed to, like, his income if he gets married is supposed to be like, I think 100,000 a year, because both, when somebody died, maybe it was their dad, I don't know, both him and his brother were supposed to get 100,000 a year, but his brother was married, so he gave his brother most of his as well, and said that he would only take his portion when he was married, but like never thought he would ever get married. And so now he's basically being married, but like literally tells his family, hey, you might as well treat her as my wife because she's basically my wife in everything but name, but like legally can't get married, so legally doesn't have the money to support another human being and a baby. So that's like the drama. I don't like him, can you tell? Anyways, I'm gonna go. Apparently Dolly, I just read the first sentence of part 6. Yeah, 6. And apparently Dolly's staying with Levin and Kitty because the house that's kind of nearby that her husband gave her to raise the children, the 5 children, the way he cheated on her because her beauty left her and she's no longer attractive after she gave him 7 children and 2 of them died. Like, dude, I will fight him. Step in. But you know, apparently, like, I already brought up how that house was basically desolate, barely livable, right? So Kitty was like, stay at our place. do it, just do it. Because Levin's always been supportive, been trying to help her out with that, even before he married Kitty, like before he reconnected with Kitty. So that's gonna be exciting. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. This is gonna be updates like when I did the 24-hour reading vlog, so fun times. Hello. I have 2 parts left. That being said, it did just become 11 p.m. and it's gonna take me about an hour to just read the next part, and the last one should take me about half an hour. So like, as long as I finish before 1 a.m. I'm counting it. Thank you very much. What happened in this part? Hunting. There was a lot of hunting. There was like a little bit of people fighting, blah blah. Kitty's pregnant. Lovely. They're off expecting the baby. Good times. Dolly, See, this is where it gets complicated, because Dolly is the sister-in-law of Anna, but Anna's lover, Vronsky, is her younger sister, Dolly's younger sister's ex kind of fiance, who left her for Anna. And so she goes to visit Anna to be like, hey, how's life? Vronsky tries to talk, well, has her try to talk Anna into divorcing her husband. His whole reasoning is if she ends up having a son, then it will be counted as a Kareem, not as Vronsky, and therefore can't get his property or anything. It won't be his heir, so he wants to marry her, but that would require divorce, which means she has to talk to her husband and admit her guilt, and officially leave her son behind. There's this thing where she kind of low-key hates Vronsky. Not hate, but she has some anger towards him because her dream, the two people she loves most in the world, are Vronsky and her son. But Vronsky would never accept letting her have her son and him at the same time. Yeah, that's lovely. Also, all he does is ride horses constantly, and she tries everything in her ability to learn about horse riding so that she can talk to him about it and have the same interest as him and like all this stuff, but also like look beautiful at all times. And he is feeling suffocated. Did I bring up the fact that God, so Dolly saw like, you know, so if, like, you have a son, like, then he can't get Vronsky's stuff and it will be a Kareem and that will cause issues. Like, this is where we learn Vronsky doesn't know this. When she was sick, after having, I think her name's Annie, the girl, yeah, no, she can't have kids anymore. He doesn't know that, so that's nice. Yeah. So, he is feeling suffocated about the whole entire relationship. Meanwhile, she is dealing with the stress of, again, having left her son, and no way to reconcile with her son, while being with this man, but also understanding that this man could leave her at any point. And then he does, low-key, leave to go and do politics just so that he can prove to her that he can leave, right? And when he goes to tell her, he's so surprised that she's calm about it, but the whole reason why she's calm about it is because the look in his eyes looked like he hated her, right? And so, he was like having the time of his life doing politics stuff, right? And then, he was like a day late returning home and gets a letter from her and he's like, oh, my wife's so demanding, and then reads the letter and oh no, his daughter's sick and dying. She's fine. So then he has to rush home, and then afterwards she's like, yeah, so we can't do this. Either you have to leave me or I have to divorce my husband and we live together in Moscow, because like you act like you hate me half the time and I can't be away from you not knowing if you will ever come back, right? And I will have nothing if you don't, right? And so that's the plan. She's gonna hit up her Alexei and be like, hey, one thing, in like the year-ish that's passed, since that whole thing where Dolly had a whole nice conversation with Alexei about Anna cheating on him, Alexei and Dolly apparently have also become friends. And really close, so that's just like cool. I ship it. She's still married to Stepan, but I ship it. Anyways, yeah, Kitty gets pregnant and there was a lot of hunting. Also, every time they bring up farming again, my eyes just glaze over. That's where I'm at in this. I'm on the last part. I'm gonna just start. I have like 41 pages left. I'm so close. I'm so close. What happened in this part? Almost nothing. Kitty had the baby. It's a boy. Cool. So at one point, Levin, I can't remember any character's name. I feel like I'm going crazy. Vronsky, that's his name, right? He ran into Vronsky one day, and so Vronsky invited him to his house where Anna was, right? And he quickly realized that Anna's fucking depressed. And so he goes home and he's all like, hey, Kate, this happened. And Katie's like, oh my god, that whore Anna, you're in love with her too. And he's all like, I'm not, I swear. She's definitely going through some hormonal balance stuff because she is like 8 months pregnant at this point. And the woman who, in her mind's eye, stole a man from her already, and then her husband meets her while she's very pregnant. And it's all like, she's very beautiful, but dead. Right? So in her head, she's like, oh my god. He fell for her too. He did. So that's happening. Yeah. Basically the rest of it, Stepan tries to talk Alexei into doing the divorce again. Basically Alexei's gone back to his original tactic of being all like, hey, if you divorce me, I keep the son, right? Further distancing her from her dream of having both her son and her lover, right? The only thing that could make her happy, because of, you know, her taking the baby in the middle of the night and leaving without saying a word. So valid. Anyways, other things. Yeah, no, so basically, Anna's, for most part, in solitude because nobody will talk to her. And so the only person she regularly talks to is, like, her toddler, and who just reminds her of the child she left behind. And Vronsky, who keeps on being like, just divorce your husband already, but also being like, I would never marry. Which then makes her be like, okay, but like, if something happens, I'm done for. And you could leave me at any moment. I don't have any security. And she starts assuming because he won't marry her, that means he has to have somebody else in his life. Right? They're constantly fighting. And so he's all like, when are we going? When are we going? And she's like, you can go tomorrow. I plan not to. There is a brief point where she's all like, in her head, being depressed. Like, the only way that I could get out of this, because like, her husband's not gonna take her back, and her lover mistreats her, the only option she has is to die. Like, that's her only chance of happiness, is death. And so the end of the part is her going to throw herself off into a train, in front of a train. I think she stops herself right before it. The way it is, like she like went to stop right before it happened, and then she fell. So I don't know if she actually died. And then there was something with a peasant muttering and reading a book, and something was quenched forever and went dim and quenched. Yeah. So did she die? I don't know. Anyways, it's 12:18. I'm tired. I'm gonna finish it. It should take me like no longer than half an hour. I'm gonna speed this bitch. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna go to bed.
So I looked it up. Anna does die. What happens is I didn't get this, and I can't tell if it was me being tired as fuck or but she went to throw herself off the train, but then her back got in her way and she fell on the ground instead. And in that moment she realized how insane she was becoming, and found that she was too dangerous. So instead, kicked the bag aside and continued the plan. So yeah, that's fun. She's dead. Hilarious. Dolly tried to divorce Devin eventually, or yes, Devin. But so great. They're too poor. He's been wasting away all the money, right? Like the only income comes from her family property that they sold some of, right? And so yeah, no, the only way they can get the money to go through with the divorce is if she signs papers for the money to go to him, and she won't do that for obvious fucking reasons. Alexei just living his life, I assume. This is the part I don't want to talk about. Levin, guess who's depressed? Also suicidal, to the point where he hides the ropes from himself. Yeah, no, he doesn't even get joy from farming anymore. Also, yes, I was 20 pages left and they were farming, and I was like screaming internally. But yeah, no, apparently, so partially I think is what it hinted at. After she had the baby, Kitty was ill and she almost died, and so he low-key blames the baby. And so because of that, he never got that nurturing feeling towards his own son, and that made him feel anger and hatred and jealousy, or not jealousy, pity and whatnot towards himself, which made him depressed. And in like the second to last chapter, Kitty and the baby girl was hit by lightning, and in that moment of fear, he notices, oh my god, I'm worried about my son. I actually care for my son. Kitty's happy about this, and whatnot. And yeah, he low-key explained some of it to her, but not the full extent. And he comes to recognize like why the way his brain works this way, and he shouldn't take it out on his son or his wife anymore. It's not their fault, right? And does almost tell her like the extent of like, hey, I have more than once gone to go and buy a gun to shoot myself with, but I stop myself every time. But doesn't, he almost does, but then she goes and tells one of the servants to do something, and so because of that, he doesn't, and thinks it's better that she doesn't know, and that his life, he just has to remember that life isn't meaningless. Was that the point of this whole time? I don't know. Anyways, my review, 3 stars. War and Peace was better and twice as long. I looked it up, it was twice as long. Just maybe around 1,300 pages, depending on what version you have. So yeah. I just like the character so much more in that one. Probably helps that me and cheating don't mix. I don't know why I thought I would love this. It's because I loved War and Peace. Despite cheating being the main plot point, because me and cheating are no. So yeah, Vronsky went off to war, I think. I don't know what happened to their daughter. And yeah, that's everything. Oh, her death became full circle because the whole reason why she thought to throw herself off the train is because the day that her and Vronsky met and there was like a spark of attraction immediately, is when she was visiting Stepan in the first part, and her like cabin partner on the train was his mother, who was also visiting Vronsky's, and like it probably wouldn't have like said anything to each other or anything, but then one of the employees was hit by the train and died, and so her death is like full circle because at that moment they like actually really met and talked, and that's why everything happened. And then in remembering that, she decided that it was better if she just died. Wild. I read it 3 stars. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Thank you for coming to this vlog. I was gonna say, do I know which one it is coming up? I think it's the one where I try to make progress in my 24 and 2024. Hilariously, this was on my 24 and 2024. You know, I'm like very behind. I'm almost halfway now with reading this. But yeah, I was like very behind. So that's what that vlog is. Fridays is me gaming. Sometimes Fridays there's a podcast on the podcast channel. Things have been happening with that. We don't need to talk about it. But Fridays gaming videos, and I stream on Twitch a lot. That's everything. Links below. Good night. Baby Yoda and I say good night. I should have grabbed my actual stuffed animal Baby Yoda, but good night. He's also on my pants.